So Stuart, Gareth Southgate's 26-man squad confirmed. Anybody have any complaints? What do you think? Tomori didn't make it. Tammy didn't make it.
Yeah.
Jared Bowen, Jadon Sancho.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Ivan Toney's the one for me.
Yeah.
He's the only one I would say, if I was Ivan, I would probably turn around and say I'd be a little bit disappointed, albeit it's probably 6 months too early for him. I think if he'd have finished the season as in the form he is in now, and the back end of last season as well, and he'd have got an international cap under his belt, I think he'd have been even closer than he actually is. Apart from that, I'm not seeing anybody outside that I think can be too aggrieved.
If you make a case for Ivan Toney, who would you have taken out in his place rather than Ivan? Who would you have taken him out? Whose place would he have taken?
I think Callum Wilson.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Not Rashford?
No, I think as
You would swap Toney for Wilson?
If asked the question, if Ivan would have ended up being included,
or Callum,
I would have.
Yeah, Callum. Yeah,
he would have been the one. I would have. The reason why I would have probably included Rashford is scope for improvement in his career. For one, I still think he's got scope for improvement in his career, and the fact he can play on the width or down the middle.
Yeah. So obviously he's his player, and he's going to make a major case for Ivan Toney.
And I think he's right to.
Well, when the name Ivan Toney came in to the picture weeks ago, Simon, you were like, "Yeah, I'll endorse that."
But absolutely, insofar as my opinion is relevant about a football player being selected for a national side, I think he merited it. I think there's a case for Thomas Frank to be biased. There's not a case for Gareth Southgate to be biased. Gareth Southgate's job is to be objective. And to be involved in making the right decisions, not a preordained decision because you've got some sort of legacy pick or some sort of bias. He won't have a legacy pick with Callum Wilson, but I also think it was kind of unfair. You get called up for England, and that's the honour. But what was the point of calling Ivan Toney up for England if you're not even going to put him on the pitch?
That's
it didn't seem to make any sense to me.
That's a great point.
It's a very good point. It surprised me a little bit that he didn't include him and give him some minutes in at least one of those two games that we played last time.
What was the point
now.
of it? I mean, you put him in a squad, but it's just token gesture,
and I don't think
isn't
he
it?
made the bench for the second one either, so you didn't have that luxury as such. That was maybe the surprising point, but what Gareth's privy to as well is what they're like around the group, how they train. Do they look as though this is a natural environment to them, or do they think it's a little bit too much for them at this moment in time? You know, all of those things you view as a manager when you get the players together.
Yeah, the way Thomas Frank spoke there, Stuart, and I know he wasn't out to rattle Gareth's cage too much, but should he get involved like that?
Yeah, I think it's an honest assessment from a manager backing his player on what he sees, he works with. And let's be quite honest with you, Toney has been a massive player for Brentford. And one of the main reasons, A, they've got promoted in this league, and secondly, why they stayed in the league and are doing so well in the league at this moment in time. So he's been a brilliant signing for Brentford and their key player, I would say.
I suppose it's a hypothesis, but I mean, might they end up missing him? Might they end up, England, wishing that Toney had gone?
Well, what will tend to happen is I mean, Kenny Dalglish, I remember him saying this, when players are injured, they become better players. He said that many years ago, which is so true. Yeah. Whoever's not in the squad now has become an Uber player, you know what I mean? I think in many ways, there's not too many dissenters around the country on this squad. There'll be a few names thrown out. We're talking about one now. But in the main, I think you can back up a lot of things. White being in the squad, I think, was right and proper on his form for Arsenal. And Maddison as well on his form.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.